Is this really one of the best cards of 2017? What's going on, guys? It's Cimo. Now, today I wanted to bring to you a card discussion on Sea Monster of Theseus. This is a brand new card that Konami announced. It's going to be a TCG exclusive in Raging Tempest. They were hyping this up about 3 weeks ago from the time of making this video, that this is going to be one of the strongest monsters of 2017. And looking at it, it's a level 5 water zombie fusion tuner monster that requires 2 tuners to make, with a stat line of 2200 attack and 1800 defense. Now, obviously, you're not going to be summoning this with 2 tuners. You're going to be using instant fusion. That's pretty much the goal here, is that Konami now created a tuner monster that's summonable off of instant fusion and can just pretty much enable a fuckload of synchro plays. Now, what can we really use this? Now, because it's a zombie, you know, basically any zombie deck, this is probably going to make instant fusion a 3 of, because you've got stuff like Shiranui or even Skull Servants that this has synergy with, solely because of the interaction with Mizuki and your ability to bring it back and pretty much continuously spam Theseus and just keep sinking due to Mizuki's ability to just recur it so easily. It just has to make instant fusion an auto 3 of for that reason. But looking onto other decks competitively, how can this card really be used or even abused if we want to take it that far? Well, I was thinking one interesting interaction is actually with Brilliant Fusion, because Gemknight Seraphonite, one of the biggest issues with it is that, you know, it does bestow you with an additional normal summon, and that's fantastic. But one of the biggest problems is that with Seraphonite being on the board, it's kind of just left there for the most part. Take Brilliant ABC, for example. Well, what's cool about Theseus is that if you have an instant fusion in your hand as well, you can instant fusion out the Theseus, and now you can possibly either sync up for a level 10 like Leo, or you can also make Ultimaya Zulkin, since Theseus is a tuner, and if you have another card in hand that you can set, now you can make Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. So that's a kind of cool interaction there, although Brilliant Fusion and Instant Fusion aren't exactly the most easiest cards to get a hold of. You know, they're pretty much, you have to draw 2 cards that are not really searchable in a deck that plays them, but regardless, that's still a really neat interaction. And pretty much Theseus, you know, on the topic of Ultimaya Zulkin, really enables Ultimaya Zulkin for a myriad of different decks. You know, you got stuff like Extra Deck Monarch. This makes this way easier to summon now. You've got stuff like Metal Foes. I mean, this basically could replace Gofu if you really wanted it to, or you could even run it alongside Gofu and Norden as well, just to have both of the extra deck if you really wanted to go that route. You know, there's so many kind of crazy plays that this card can kind of enable, but nothing really like absurdly broken. At least at the time of making this video, no one's really found a way to truly abuse this card, and I really think because the card is good, it's a very, very solid card, but it's not like over the top broken. Like, this isn't like Marmorat broken, or excuse me, Rat Pier broken, but it's just a really, really solid card, and it makes a really nice instant fusion target. But the one thing I want us to look beyond here with this card is what's going to happen to cards like Instant Fusion and Elder Entity Norden on the ban list. I really think that Theseus' existence coming into the game means that Norden is going to get banned. And I also think that Instant Fusion isn't going to get touched whatsoever, because Konami spent the time advertising that this card's summonable through Instant Fusion. No one is going to play this card being through its own summoning conditions, and so basically Instant Fusion needs to remain in this game for this card to even be relatively playable. So Norden's probably going off, is going to get banned now. Instant Fusion is probably staying at 3. I really doubt they're going to touch it, because they probably want us to play around with this card. But then the other problem as well is the typing and the attributes and the level, in my opinion. You know, Rare Fish is a really good instant fusion target in water because it's level 4, meaning that you can do Bahamut Shark, totally awesome plays, things like that. This is level 5, and while level 5 isn't terrible, I mean, being able to make rank 5s is very strong, as well as having a synchro, you know, that requires level 5, because, you know, if you have this and, you know, a level 3 monster, say like Terratop or Takatombo or something like that, you can make a Psy-Frame Lord Omega. So, I mean, that's pretty useful there, but in my opinion, if it's going to have level 5, I feel like the light attribute is the superior attribute, or machine typing is the superior typing, because, you know, with light, you have access to things like Constellar Pleiades, and then with machine, you have access to things like Cyber Dragon Nova, so it really kind of is hard to justify a level 5 a level 5 tuner monster that has really oddball, you know, attribute and typing. So it's kind of like they didn't want to make it too broken in any respect. They kind of had to find the way, like, okay, how can we make this card very, very good without making it, like, too good? And that's kind of how they developed, like, everything for this. But the other thing I think a lot of people are overlooking is that this card is a fucking secret rare. If you look at the text mirrors that of other cards in the past that the Konami blog announces that has secret rare text. You know, things like the Zodiac Barrage and things like Pot of Desires. It's going to be a fucking secret rare, so that means that potentially it's probably just going to be just a bulk secret rare to an extent, because it's not going to be something that a lot of people are just dying to chase after until someone really finds a way to abuse Theseus. So the fact that this is a secret rare means it's going to be extraordinarily hard to pull by comparison to anything else. Hell, even Ratpier is going to be easier to pull than Theseus. So I feel like even though it's going to look really awesome as a secret rare, the fact that it's a secret rare just makes it even harder to get, and really, it's just going to be one of those secret rares that, you know, it's kind of good, people might pick it up, similar to, like, Vermilion Dragon Mech, you know? It's a good secret rare, but, like, hardly any decks use it, and now it's only, like, a few bucks on the market. But overall, that's just my thoughts about, you know, this card. It's a really good card, don't get me wrong, but I feel like it wasn't pushed enough to just be, like, completely over the top. You know, if it were me, it would probably be of light attribute. I think the light attribute would just make it much, much more appealing, because I don't feel like the water attribute really helps out a lot here. I mean, in the zombie decks, light would also be really good as well, because then you could have, like, some chaos synergy going, maybe Tekken like a BLS, something like that, or if it had the ability of, like, being able to modulate its level, like, if it could go, like, if it had an effect of something like, when this card is special summoned, or excuse me, if this card is special summoned, PSCT, if this card is special summoned, you can reduce this monster's level by 1. Like, that would be really fucking cool if we had a tuner that's summonable through instant fusion that can modulate its level to basically adapt to your needs at that given moment. That would be fucking probably broken, but I don't care. That was kind of something that I would like. I know it wasn't supposed to have an effect, but even though that's an effect, that's not like an effect that affects other things on the field. It just affects itself. I think that would make this card much more appealing if it had something along those lines. But let me know down in the comments what you guys think about Theseus. I really want to hear what kind of broken shit you guys can come up with. And who knows, maybe it's going to be, I could be totally wrong, and maybe it's just one of the most broken cards ever. We just haven't found the best way to use it yet. So thank you guys so much for watching the video. Be sure to like the video as always. Subscribe to the channel for more amazing Yu-Gi-Oh content. Be sure to back me on Patreon, because just by pledging that $1 a month, you're investing in my ability to continue bringing you amazing Yu-Gi-Oh content. So thank you guys again. See you next time.